How dominant, really, in hindsight, as we're looking at them getting ready for the finals, has the Thunder's run been?
They've had a great year. They've had a great year, and they've been able to somewhat kind of fly under the radar because of the expectations that we've had for this team. We expected them to be a good team, but because Cleveland came out of nowhere and had the historical season that they had, we spent a lot of time talking about Cleveland and what they've been doing. And so Oklahoma City, they've been quietly racking up win after win in this regular season and been dominant in the postseason as well. You know, I don't know if I'm out of the game or if this matters, but it felt to me that 15-16 Warriors team, they just felt like they were unbeatable. And it probably feels like that to me because it affected me. It affected my winning column. It affected my career, you know, having to see that team 4 times a year and knowing how dominant that team was. That felt different to me than this Oklahoma City team. Now, however, now I'm in my Crocs. I don't have to lace up my shoes. I don't have to worry about the Oklahoma City Thunder, but they've been just as dominant as that 15-16 Warriors group that I can remember in recent history. Obviously, you got the Bulls and you got some of those classic legacy teams in the 90s and the early 2000s, but I compare this team to that 15-16 Warriors group, but if they can finish it, if they can go out and get a championship, they put themselves in that conversation along with the rest of those historic teams.
Yeah, and I think,
Crazy.
Lou, the reason we don't compare it to that 15-16 team is because all those guys were in their prime, right? Like these guys, Jalen,
That's a
SGA,
great
Chet,
point.
they're still on
Great
the
point.
rise. They're still so young, which is kind of why we haven't really given them the flowers and the respect that they probably deserve. Now, go and get this championship. I think that's all just a narrative that we tried to create for other teams to, to try and go beat them. But that I think is why, because this team is so youthful and this team is still so like they're blooming. And that team with KD, Steph, Clay, they were all in their prime. They were all multiple time all stars. They were already first ballot Hall of Famers. Like that, I think is the difference. The '95 Bulls was a great team. How about the Celtics last year? Obviously, they had really good breaks happen for them where a lot of guys went down in their way and they kind of had an easier path. But man, that was a pretty dominating series last year where we expected them to win. They dominated through 82 games and just went and won the championship by a wide margin. But if this team goes in and they get it and they finish the deal and they happen to do beat the Pacers in 4 or 5 in a dominating fashion, it's going to be hard not to compare this team to those great teams. Just have what they've done during the regular season, how they've handled, a game 7 against the MVP, 3-time MVP Jokic in the playoffs. And now they go to the finals and they win. This would be a historic, one of the greater teams that we've seen, and they're not going anywhere, which is the scariest thing.
That's that's where we're going to stick around here. Because, yeah, as you're talking, they're 4 wins away from a championship. And as you just mentioned, it does not feel like they're going anywhere anytime soon. They'd be the youngest champ team since 1977, which is saying a lot. And so the fact that we may or may not be looking at the beginning of a dynasty, you never know what a dynasty's starting because you don't know until you're about 3 years in. But Chandler, it feels very much like what we're seeing right now is sort of the origin story of what could be our next great dynasty in the league. Does it feel like that?
Yeah, and I know it's early. I know it hasn't happened yet, but it
Sure.
is like this is the beginning. This is the beginning, and we always talk about Sam Presti and the job he's done, the assets he's acquired, the draft picks he still has. He's got a lottery pick last year, top pick or toe pick. I'm not sure how you say it, but people are hyped on him. He got hurt this year, missed all season, but he's supposed to be one of the next big European things, and we haven't even seen him in uniform. So yeah, I think this team is going to continue to get better. I trust Sam Presti fully to make the right moves, to get rid of the right guys, to let some guys walk, to acquire new guys like an Alex Caruso, like a Hartenstein. The dude can't miss, and it just seems like these kids are wise above their age, and they're just continue to mature and get better. They enjoy playing with each other. They've already bought in clearly on the defensive team. This is one of the best defensive. They shouldn't be this good at defense and bought in at this age, right? Their coach is young, for God's sake. So not only is there's going to be no turnover even at the head of the snake with Dagnall. He's going to be there for a long time. And there's something to say about that. You rarely see that nowadays where a coach has that long runway and that long leash to continue to grow and build with these guys. So even that aspect of it, where they locked in a coach for a cheapish deal beginning, I think that's going to change when he re-ups. But everything is going their way. They're going to win multiple championships in the next 5 years. Hopefully, knock on wood, they stay healthy. But I know the Western Conference is good, and everyone's going to start building to try and compete against them. But this team is going nowhere, man. And I think they're going to win multiple championships.
This is what I'm trying to figure out because as built, this team is primed to be together for another couple of seasons. As built, where do you trim the fat? Like where all of these guys are essential. Like some of these guys that aren't even getting playing time and he can throw them in a mix, they even go out on the floor and they give you something, right? So where do you trim the fat? What guys do you let go on this offseason? Because right now they have all of the ingredients to continue to build. They got a young coach, they got a young core, they got a GM that knows what buttons and what moves to make. I don't know where this team goes from here. You know, on the other side of it, you have Rick Carlisle, who's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. But those guys are also building legacy. They're also in a position to do something special. And so with OKC, this is going to be a great matchup. It's going to be a great battle with both teams. But I don't see this OKC team going anywhere in the near future. Only thing that can hurt them is actually being hurt, is injuries and guys going out of the lineup. But we even seen them weather that storm when Chet went out. When Chet went out, they still continued to roll, and he came back, and it wasn't weird. He fit right in like a glove. And they just kept marching forward. So I don't know what's going to happen in the near future, but this team has all the ingredients, man, and they're primed to be able to dominate the Western Conference, dominate the league for years to come if they can get over this year and try to get a championship in this first crack at it.